Hi all, welcome back. In today's session, we will be discussing about the steps to clone a database from one machine or one server to another server. For this exercise, we have two servers are there. One is at Vaishit DB Vaishit 1 and other one is at Vaishit 3. I have already created a primary database or the source database. The source database name is PrimeDB. This database we will be cloning to our target server, that is Vaishit 3. Also, the Oracle software is installed. The same version of Oracle software is already installed on both source and target. So first important point on the cloning is that the source and the target database versions should be the same, or RDBMS version should be the same. If the RDBMS versions are different, for example, the source is on 11.2.1 and the target we have installed the higher version, say 11.2.2. In that case, when the cloning is taking place, Oracle will not be able to open the database after restoring the data file. It will not be able to open the database because the database, the RDBMS versions are different. Okay, so when you are considering the internals of this process, I can say the cloning process can be divided into three areas basically. Let me note it down. The cloning process can be divided into three areas basically. One, taking the backup of the primary or the source database. Second, copy the files, the backups pieces to the target server. Third, restore the not restoration, start the an auxiliary instance on the target, then create the control file, then restore the database from backup, then finally open the database using reset logs. Okay, so these 5 steps will be the internals of the cloning process. So we do have the two options. One is that we can do the entire step manually. I mean, take the backup, copy the files, everything you can, then restoration process, everything can be done manually. Or you can use the rman, that's rman backup and recovery tool used by Oracle, can be used for this entire cloning activity. So in today's session, we will be using the rman for our cloning, and in another session, I'll be explaining about the steps of cloning a database using the manual method. So this cloning method is sometimes it is being referred as the refresh process. Many times the DBS will be, especially the production DBS, will be getting the request like they may have to refresh their production database to a target database, maybe a staging or a QA database for the application team for testing their new production changes. So whatever the terminology we are using, whether it's we are using the terminology called cloning or we are using a terminology called refresh, but the process is going to be the same thing. Okay, so in this class we'll be discussing about the cloning using rman. So the first step is that we need to take the backup of our primary database or the source database. So let's take the backup of the database. So I'm on step 1. So I'm on source server. Let me set up my environment variables. So you can see that env prime db. Okay, I set the had set my environment variables to primary database. Now let's see whether our primary database is in the arclog mode. This is really required because many times when you are doing the cloning, we cannot shut down our primary database. Maybe it's under the 24/7 support or AAA applications is supporting. So we may not be able to shut down the database. So in that case, the database should be in the arclog mode. So let's connect to the database and find out archive log list. Okay, from this it's clear that the database is in the arclog mode. Now let's take the rman backup. Let's connect to the database. rman connect target. Okay, there are two things we will be taking the backup. One, we will be taking the backup of our database plus the arclog file, and we will take the backup of our database. I mean, the control file backup is also required. Okay, so first we'll take the backup. When you are taking the full database backup, the control file will be automatically backed up. But always it's a good idea to take the backup of the control file separately. So let's issue the command backup database plus arclog. So since I'm not specifying any destination, so what happens is that the backup will be going to the default flash recovery area. So that is fine for our access. Otherwise, you may have to use the rman format command if you wanted to copy or take the backup to another destination. Since I have not taken the backup of this database for quite a long time, it has a lot of arclog files generated. So it may take us a few minutes to take the backup of this database. So here you can see that it has completed the backup of the arclog files and it's proceeding to take the backup of the data files. Now the backup is completed. Now we can issue host. Okay. So before that, so let's see where the backups pieces are created. So you can see that the backup pieces are created on this location. Okay. So it's a good practice that we create this destination on the our target server and use that destination and copy that backup to that location. So let's copy here and then go to the standby, and by standby I mean the target. So let's create a directory. Okay. Now the next step will be that we have to SCP the files from the source to target, and we'll take the here you can see that the backup has already taken the control file backup. Anyway, but as for a good practice, we'll take the backup of our control file as well. Okay. Okay. I took the backup of the control file by issuing the command backup current control file. Now I'll be going to the destination where the backup pieces are created and I will copy the backup pieces to the target server. Okay. Clear ls-l scp star. I wanted to copy all the backup pieces, so I'm copying irrespective of all the files. Oracle @Rashid 3 colon. Yeah. Okay, it's copying the backups. With the current speed, it may take some 5 to 10 minutes to copy the backups. Now the backups are copied. Now there's one more thing, but we have to do. We have to make an auxiliary database instance. Okay, so for that we need to have a parameter file. So the one of the best method is that you create you create a p file from SPFL from the primary, copy that p file to the standby and or the target server, and then rename it, rename the or make the required changes. So let's connect it to our database on the source and create a p file from sp file. So create p file equal to /temp/ we'll call our target server as a clone db. So I'll just give init to clone db dot ora from sp file. Okay, so it's also copied. Now I'll copy this sp file also, the p file also to the target. So scp /temp/ init clone db oracle @. I wanted to copy that to the Oracle home. So since I have created the source and target installation on the same way, so the path of the Oracle home will be the same on both primary and the both source and the target. So I'm just copying to the target server Oracle home /dbs directory. Okay, it's copied. Now let's go back to our standby server and try to bring up the database instance. Okay, so before that we will just check whether all the backup pieces are copied on the target ls-l. Yeah, we have all the backup pieces, and then cd $oracle _home /dbs. Okay, ls-ltr. Then I have the need to clone db.or is there. So what I'll do then, I'll open this file and make the necessary changes. So here, wherever the reference to prime db is there, that all has to be replaced with the new database name. That's our clone db. So 1, $, substitute prime db clone db replacement. Okay, so db name is changed, db unique name is changed, and there are certain parameters which is not really required for us. That is the log archive destination 1, destination 2, etc. is not required. That's required only for the standby. Okay, here Okay, there are two parameters which I have changed here. They are the DB file name convert and the log file name convert. The reason being, DB file name convert and log file name convert will help in renaming the data files as well as the redo log files. Say in the primary database, let's assume that the primary is having, or if you just check it, let's see what is the data file's name on the primary database. Select name from $data file. Okay, so if you're looking, the naming convention of the primary database is say Vaishit, PrimeDB, and system.dbf sysocs like that. So on the target, it may be we don't have that, or we may not. One thing is that we may not be having the same structure, same file system structure, or we may wanted to change the file system structure. In both the cases, the DB file name convert and the log file name convert parameters helps us. So here you can see that what is happening is that in the data file, wherever the name PrimeDB is coming, it will be replaced with the clone.db. So the name of the data file will be /vaishit/clone.db/system.dbf. Hope that's clear. Okay, the same thing is applicable for the log file name convert as well. Now we will make sure that we will save this file, and we will make sure that all the directories which is mentioned as per the parameter file is created. So let's save the file. Okay, cat init. So what I'll do that I'll create it mkdir -p. I'll create the audit file destination. Okay, and the flash recovery area, that is /home oracle. I think this flash recovery area is there because we could copy the files over there. So I think this is fine. Okay, now one more thing, that is, so we have created the directory structure, we have created the parameter file. Now we should be starting up the instance. So the one of the best method, or one of the method which I follow, is that I'll make an entry to the ORAT tab file. Okay, so in the ORAT tab file, we do have already some databases are there. So let's copy one. Okay, so I created. Now let me set up the environment variables. Clone db. Okay, let's start up the database in the no-mount stage. Remember, for the rman cloning, we will be starting up the auxiliary instance. This instance, the instance on the target server is always called as an auxiliary instance. The auxiliary instance has to be started only at the no-mount stage. Okay, now let me check one more parameter. Show parameter service. Okay, fine. Now our standby databases, or sorry, our auxiliary instance is started. Now one more step we have to do, that is we have to make a entry to the for our primary database, because when we are doing the cloning by using rman, the rman will get a lock on the primary database or the target database to get the structure of the data files. So for that, we need to have we should be able to connect it with our primary database using the sysdba privilege. So let's try this one. SQL plus. Before that, let's try this TNS entry. TNS ping prime DB. Okay. So let me go there and check what's the TNS entry what I'm having there. Oracle underscore home slash network slash admin. Okay. VA TNS names. Okay. So, okay, the TNS entry what I'm having is at prime TNS. So that's fine. Now we'll SQL plus system slash Oracle @ prime TNS. Okay. So I could connect it to the primary database. Now we'll do the actual cloning step. Okay, so for doing the rman cloning, we need to connect it to both our source or the target database as well as to the auxiliary, that is the target database. So we need to, on the same rman session, we need to connect the source as well as the target. So let's see how to do that one. Rman connect auxiliary Okay, so we have connected to our auxiliary instance using operate system authentication, and we can see that it's connected to auxiliary database clone.db, not mounted. And we need to connect it to our target database or the source database. Don't get confused with the target with respect to the rman. Always the source database is always called as the target, because the control file information or the backup information is available on the that database control file only. So connect to target, by here connect to target I mean I'm connected to my source database. @ prime TNS. You can see that we have connected to both our auxiliary and the source databases in the same rman session. Now let me start a run block. In this, I'll be allocating a channel auxiliary channel C1 device type disk allocate channel C2 device type Okay, so here I have allocated two channels. One is for the reading from the backup pieces, and that is the channel C2, and one is that for restoring that backup pieces to the target database, I mean the auxiliary database. That's why the auxiliary channel. So now we have the two channels. Then now I will add the actual duplicate command. The command will be duplicate target database for standby. No file name check. Do recover. Okay, so I'm issuing the command duplicate target database for standby. Sorry, this command is wrong. Duplicate target database to we have to specify our target database name, clone db. Duplicate target database to clone db. The other command was for building the standby database. I'm sorry. Now we can close the curly brackets. Let's execute it. You can see that it is doing the actual restoration. You can also see that it is restored the control file and it is restoring the data files. You can see that it automatically renamed the data file, the path as /whitesheet/clone_db. So basically, if you're looking, it has done certain things. One is that it shut down the database, the auxiliary instance, whatever we started, then restarted the database, then used the backup set and restored the control file, then mounted the database, and from there it restored the data files one by one. And you can see that it has set a new name for all the data files because we have mentioned the db file name convert and the log file name convert. So it understood that that has to be renamed. So all the data files got a new name there, and then it restored the data files to that new name. Hope it's clear. Now you can see that it has completed the restoration and it's doing the media recovery. You can see that it is starting the media recovery. It has restored the data files. It has completed the redo recovery of all the data files. Then now it's restarting the database once again, and then changing the DB name, DB unique name as per whatever we have specified. Okay, so now you can see that it finally it has completely opened the database using reset logs. Okay, so as we explained in the initial class or initial steps, we took the backup, we copied the files, then we use rman to do the cloning. In the case of cloning internally, what happens then? It used the auxiliary instance to restore the control file. Once it restored the control file, it renamed the data files path in the control file. Using that path, it restored the data files. Then it recovered the database using the arclog files which was there in the backup is. Then it has issued the rename database command and then opened the database using reset logs. Okay. Now if you wanted, like if you're connecting to the database, you can see that now let's connect to the database, that is DBA. Okay, select name, comma, open mode from $database. You can see that clone_db, the name of the database is clone_db. It is opened in the read write. Let's see what is instance name also. By instance underscore name from $database, comma, $instance. Okay, so the name of the instance is clone_db, name of the database is clone_db, database is opened in the read write mode. So this is the steps to clone a database or refresh a database using backups. In simple steps, take the backup of the source database, including the arclog backups, and it's a better option that you take the backup of the current control file. Copy the backup pieces to the same location as that in the that of the source. Like in this in our example, we directed the backups to the flash recovery area. We created the same destination on our target server or the clone database server, and then we SCP'd the backup pieces. Then what we did is that we took a backup of the parameter file, we made the required changes on the for the clone DB, and then opened the started the instance, then use the rman to restore and recover or do the process of cloning. In rman, what does it? It first restore the control file, restore the data files, recovered, and then open the database using reset logs. Hope this is clear. In the next session, we will be seeing how to do this entire process using the manual steps. Thank you.